Welcome to 21st Sports, and right now I want to ask the question, did the referees cost the Green Bay Packers their game against the Chicago Bears on Thanksgiving night? And that, of course, was on the 26th of November 2015. It's now the next day, and it's something I kind of glossed over a little bit in the recap, but there was a particular play in the fourth quarter with about 9 minutes and 16 seconds left in this game. There was a 3rd and 5 at the Green Bay 37, and on the play, there was a neutral zone infraction. That was the penalty that was called by the officiating crew. But on this play, what ended up happening was that they didn't blow the whistle on the foul. They actually, it was offsides without a doubt. They did, jump early on the defensive side, but they allowed the play to develop to a point. But right when it looked like as if the Packers were going to go for a touchdown, they blowed the whistle dead. So what happened is the Bears jumped off sides, and they were bringing the rush. Aaron Rodgers stepped up in the pocket. He delivered the ball to Randall Cobb on what's really one of the signature plays for that Green Bay offense, especially in Aaron Rodgers' tenure as the starter there in Green Bay, is they like to do this play where, it's a deep route, but then they cut inside, so it's like a deep inside slant and like a deep in. And usually this play is a play for Jordy Nelson. Of course, he hasn't played all year. And, but in the years past, it's a play that many times over, Aaron Rodgers hits Jordy Nelson in stride when he makes that deep in cut, going for that deep route, but then cuts in on the slant, and then he hits him in stride, and then he goes all the way for the touchdown. On this particular play, it was Randall Cobb, and Cobb has also been known to connect with Rodgers on these routes as well. And 9 times out of 10, when that ball gets into the receiver's hands in stride on this route without anybody downfield, it ends up in the end zone for 7 points. I mean, it definitely would have put them a lot closer into field goal range. Like I said, as soon as the ball was delivered, they blew the whistle dead. And like I said, watching the play, I even rewatched it again later on. And with that particular play, that one really, in my opinion, cost the Packers the game. There were some other calls that were somewhat questionable, but that one in particular, like I said, really stuck out as a play that cost the Packers that game. Is Randall Cobb catches that ball, and then at that point, if they did not blow the whistle, he would have ended up in the end zone for the 6 points. They kicked the extra point, and at that point, they would have been up 20-17. Instead, they just get the 5 yards, which is a first down. It was 3rd and 5, and that brought them to the 42, and then kept the score 17-13 in favor of the Bears, but the possession would end up resulting in a punt as they ended up punting from their own 38, as they ended up, Rodgers got sacked on 3rd down, and there was actually a holding call that was declined by the Bears. This was, a couple plays after that as they got the first down, then a couple of incomplete passes brought up 3rd down. Rodgers got sacked by Young, and then they, declined the holding penalty, and then they had to punt. But on that 3rd and 5, just a few plays earlier, with that neutral zone infraction, and it's just a weird play. It reminded me of the play on Monday night with the Patriots and the Bills, when the refs blew the whistle on that one once the ball got in the hands of Amendola. And that one, too, was argued that he would have went for the touchdown. Although I actually think that this play was more, guaranteed to go for the score, being that no one stood in Randall Cobb's way. He catches that ball in stride, which he did. If the whistle isn't blown, he's taken off to the end zone for the big play. That would have right there been a 63-yard touchdown. Instead, it ends up a 5-yard penalty, and the possession resulted in a punt, and the Packers go on to lose the game by 4 points. Of course, they punted the ball. There's still 8.5 minutes left, and the rest of the game ended up going how it went. In the next possession, Porter comes up with a big play with the interception, and then on the final possession for the Packers, they turn the ball over on downs on a 4th and goal from the 8. Of course, on that 3rd down before that, Porter had made a big play. But on that 4th down, on the final possession, the final play for the Packers, it was a little questionable about if there was a defensive pass interference on that play. The defender had his hands, I think it was Callahan, had his hands wrapped around Devontae Adams. They didn't call it. It was past 5 yards, but really that play back with, about 9:15, 9:16 on the clock on that 3rd and 5 with that neutral zone infraction, with them whistling the play dead, really cost the Packers. But I want to know what you think in the comments section below. Do you think that play cost the Packers this game, or do you think that it didn't cost them this game? Either way, I'm interested in your thoughts and opinions, whether you agree or disagree. Also, maybe if there's other calls in the game that you found questionable as well. It was kind of interesting. Although, granted, earlier in the game, there was an interception by Porter that they ended up overturning, and that did lead to the Packers' only touchdown of the game there in the first quarter. But this one right here, with them again, this is the second, primetime game in a row, because we have the Monday night game and now the Thursday night game on Thanksgiving. We see some whistles blown at odd times. Now, I understand that, if the rush is coming in unimpeded, that they blow the whistle to save the quarterback, but that wasn't the case here. Rodgers was not in danger. He had actually, the tackle had picked up the block. He picked up the blitzer on that right side, as it was the left tackle picking him up, and then Rodgers stepped up in the pocket. He delivered that pass to Randall Cobb, and then they just blow the whistle dead. If they're going to blow the whistle dead, they should have blown the whistle dead as soon as they jumped for that neutral zone infraction. They should have been blowing the whistles as the ball was being snapped. And, instead it looked like, free play, and then they just in the middle of the play blow the whistle. That's not when you blow the whistle. That's very suspect. But hey, in the refs' defense, I guess you could say, well, these guys are part-timers, these guys are lawyers, doctors, stockbrokers, and here they are on Thanksgiving working the game for our entertainment, and it was a cold, rainy, windy night there in Wisconsin, but it's still, this is a kind of amateur mistake on their part. It's something you wouldn't necessarily see at a lower level of competition. I don't know why you would see it in the NFL at the highest level of competition, as refs making these mistakes. And of course, it's not the same officiating crew as on that Monday night game, but it's kind of interesting to see that happen in a couple of primetime games. First on Monday night with the Patriots and the Bills, and then here in this game with the Packers and the Bears. And I thought this one was actually more egregious, being that it really, on that play, looked to me like Randall Cobb was going for the touchdown if the whistle had not been blown. That's just my opinion, though. Let me know what your opinion is, as I said in the comment section below. Thank you very much for listening. It's greatly appreciated. I hope you're having a good day and having a good week and had a good and a happy Thanksgiving, and have a great weekend and enjoy all the sports.